No map dared to mark it. The locals simply referred to it with a whisper, Calavan, the Black Forest. It wasn't named for the darkness of its foliage alone, though that darkness was real, a canopy so thick sunlight barely pierced the mossy floor where every shadow seemed to shift and breathe. It was named for the things that lived inside it, the things that never left witnesses. The stories varied. Some spoke of ancient curses, others of spirits born from a massacre long forgotten. But there was one thread that ran through them all. People went in, and they never came out. Not hunters, not soldiers, not even the brave or foolish enough to explore it for treasure. For generations, the villagers at the edge of the jungle placed offerings at crude stone altars, cracked coconuts, bowls of rice, and occasionally a carcass of a goat left before sundown. A warning and a bribe. Children were taught from their first steps never to cross the banyan arch at the jungle's border. But time dulls the fear of death, and arrogance grows where caution fades. It was early monsoon season when 7 trekkers arrived in the village. 4 men and 3 women, all city dwellers armed with expensive backpacks, camping deer in a confidence that bordered on stupidity. They had heard the stories, of course. They just didn't believe them. Their leader was a broad-shouldered man in a bright red trekking jacket. His voice was loud, his laugh louder. Creatures? Man-eaters? That's a fairy tale, he told the old men who tried to warn him. We've fought worse in the city. Traffic. That evening, the villagers gathered at the edge of Calavan to try one last time. The jungle is not empty, an old woman rasped, gripping her walking stick. It is watching, always watching. If you go, you will not come back. They went anyway. Crossing the twisted banyan roots at the entrance was like stepping into another world. The air grew instantly heavier, humid with a smell of wet earth and something faintly metallic. No birds called, no insects buzzed. The only sound was their boots crunching on damp leaves. Everywhere, trees rose like columns of black stone, their bark slick with moss. Vines hung low, brushing their faces like fingers. More than once, someone thought they saw movement high above, something darting from branch to branch. But when they looked again, there was only emptiness. Then the smell changed. It became sharper. Rot mixed with iron, like blood left too long in the heat. It happened so fast, they almost didn't register it. A faint rustle above, a shadow dropping, a scream cut short. Something pale and impossibly thin slammed into one. Of the trekkers, a young man in a blue shirt, and in less than 2 heartbeats, both were gone. The only trace was a smear of blood across the moss. Panic broke them. They ran, pushing through thorn-covered vines, gasping for air as the jungle seemed to twist around them. Paths looped back on themselves. Trees they swore they had passed hours ago appeared again. Then, a choked cry from behind. Another was gone, yanked straight up into the canopy. They caught only a glimpse this time. Limbs far too long, bent at unnatural angles, skin stretched tight over bone, and black, lidless eyes reflecting light like wet glass. The survivors moved slower now, backs pressed together as they walked. But the creatures followed. Sometimes they heard claws scrape against bark overhead. Sometimes a wet, clicking sound echoed in the stillness, like sharp stones tapping together. One woman broke down, sobbing loudly. Something answered from the darkness, not a human voice, but a distorted mimic of her cry, growing closer. Moments later she was gone, her screams fading into the distance. By nightfall, only 3 remained. The man in the red jacket, a young woman with a trembling knife in her hand, and a skinny man whose eyes darted to every shadow. They built small fire, hoping it would keep the predators away. Didn single quotes T. Eyes began to appear in the darkness beyond the firelight. Dozens, black, glossy, and unblinking. The skinny man tried to run. He made it only 10 steps before something fast and silent cut him down. The sound that followed was not the sound of eating. It was the sound of something tearing. Piece by piece, the man in the red jacket pulled the woman into the hollow of a massive fallen tree. The clicking surrounded them now, slow and deliberate. Then came the growls, low, wet, vibrating in their chests. "They're not attacking," she whispered. "They're playing with us." Neither slept. Hours passed. Then something pale and long-fingered reached into the hollow, claws scraping the wood. The red-jacketed man screamed, and then there was silence at dawn. The jungle was still again. Villagers found no trace of the trekkers. No bags, no bones, no blood. The jungle had swallowed them whole. To this day, they say if you stand at the banyan arch after midnight, you will hear voices calling faintly from within, voices of the lost, begging for help in words that twist into inhuman growls. Before fading into the silence, the man-eaters are patient. They cling to the canopy like shadows with teeth, waiting for the next sound of footsteps. And when you hear the clicking, it's already too late.